Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Elon Musk became famous as a businessman. He makes electric cars and rockets and has become the single richest person on planet Earth by doing that. Elon Musk is not from the United States. He grew up in South Africa, and yet he has a keen and precise understanding of how our system was designed to work. As he put it on Twitter last month, quote, "Free speech is essential to a functioning democracy." And censorship CEO. Quote, "If this deal doesn't work, given that I have no confidence in management, nor do I believe I can drive the necessary change in the public market, I would need to reconsider my position as a shareholder." That means if Twitter's board rejects Elon Musk's offer, they will need to explain why to their shareholders they turned down a deal that would make the shareholders much richer. So by doing this, Elon Musk is putting everything on the line. He knows how important Twitter is to the people who run our system, who run the global system. For them, censorship and propaganda are not a feature of their rule. Their rule depends on censorship and propaganda. If you are offering policies that really benefit nobody but yourself, you have to lie about them and you must prevent anyone from complaining about it. So censorship and propaganda are at the very heart of neoliberalism. And Elon Musk is challenging all of that directly. He's the richest man in the world. He's not trying to make more money. He's not donating to a foreign charity or creating a tax shelter for himself, at least in this case. He's using his money to allow at least potentially Americans to speak freely. Is it distressing that our own democratic system isn't working, that you would need some rich guy to swoop in, Deus ex machina, to save free speech in the United States? Of course it is. Is it sad that we're all desperate for Elon Musk to save us? Yes, it is. But who else is going to save us? Nobody at this point. So, of course, corporate media, which exists to stifle the views of individual Americans, hates the idea, and their first move is to mock it. Watch.
He says he wants to pay $54.20 a share to buy up the rest of Twitter that he doesn't have. Of course, $54.20, that's 420. That's a code for marijuana, which he very much enjoys. So is this all a troll or is this very real?
It's just so bizarre.
Right. I mean, the 420 coding and everything.
Is it just a troll?
Right.
I mean, if he's not going to negotiate, he says, this is my last and final offer. I'm not going to negotiate here. Is this just some sort of game?
Is he doing it for the lulz?
It can't really be real. Well, think it through for a second. By challenging the monopoly on speech, not just in the United States, but globally, on Twitter, on this central platform for ideas, Elon Musk is risking everything that he has. His many businesses intersect with governments around the world. They're not for this. They could crush him for even suggesting it. So he's all in. He has to be all in, even to say something like this. At Twitter, they know he's all in, and that's why they're so upset about it. According to a Bloomberg reporter, even before Musk's offer today of a hostile takeover, quote, "The vibe among workers at Twitter is, quote, super stressed, with employees, quote, working together to help each other get through the week." That's how threatening this is. And you have to ask yourself, what kind of company is Twitter? The company's stock just jumped 30%. That happened when Elon Musk first bought in. So obviously, this is not a company that exists to make money. This is a company that exists to censor speech. That's its whole purpose. The Biden administration certainly understands this, and they've already made a move to intimidate Musk into backing off. Fox Business's Charlie Gasparino is reporting tonight that, quote, "As Elon Musk offers to buy the rest of Twitter, a legal source tells Fox Business that the SEC and the DOJ have launched what he described as a joint investigation into a myriad of Musk regulatory issues, primarily involving Tesla. In other words, threaten to allow people to speak freely and we'll crush your businesses. That's third world behavior. At the Washington Post, owned by also one of the richest people in the world, Max Boot very much supports stopping Elon Musk. In fact, Elon Musk, he tells us, must be silenced in the name of democracy. Quote, "I am frightened by the impact on society and politics if Elon Musk acquires Twitter. He seems to believe that on social media, anything goes. For democracy to survive, we need more content moderation, not less." Really? So for democracy to survive, the citizens in the democracy need to talk less, need to express their opinions more guardedly, need to shut up? What kind of democracy are we talking about? It's not democracy as the Athenians or the founders of this country understood it. Democracy is a euphemism for letting our mafia run your country for our benefit. A journalism professor called Jeff Jarvis explained today on Twitter that tyranny is when the regime can't censor its own citizens. Quote, today on Twitter feels like the last evening in a Berlin nightclub at the twilight of the Weimar Germany. In other words, you're a Nazi if you're for speaking freely on Twitter. CNBC host Joe Kernan understands exactly what's going on. If Twitter is opened up, that means people who are paid to censor the public on Twitter will lose their ability. They'll lose their guardianship of free speech. Watch this.
Who's that ADL guy, Andrew? This is his worst nightmare, I think. Jonathan Greenblatt.
Yep.
It's going to be.
Jonathan Greenblatt.
I mean, if he owns the whole place, it's going to be like, go for it. I think it's going to be, and the Orange Man probably going to be back, and this is unbelievable.
He's exactly right. Again, you can't overstate what a threat this is, not simply to the people occupying seats of political power, but to the whole nonprofit universe that exists and thrives and becomes rich, supporting them through censorship and propaganda. So a group like the ADL or Media Matters take money in order to censor people. They issue some report calling you a racist, and then social media shuts you down. Elon Musk is saying, no, people should be able to speak freely. That would mean the end of their control over speech, groups like the ADL and Media Matters. So the media and these nonprofit groups have to stop this before it happens. Here's MSNBC telling you that Elon Musk must be stopped because he's a bigot.
He's one of the most thin-skinned people on social media. And this week, he tried to come for Senator Elizabeth Warren, who tweeted, let's change. This week, he tried to come for Senator Elizabeth Warren, who tweeted, let's change the rigged tax code so that the person of the year will actually pay taxes and stop freeloading off everyone else. Well, Elon wasn't happy, so he did what he always did and stomped his little feet.
Sudden, the political party that's supported almost exclusively by oligarchs like Jeff Bezos and the Google guys is telling you that it's dangerous for rich people to have too much control over speech. Really? Facebook is controlled by one person, Mark Zuckerberg, but that's not a threat because Mark Zuckerberg is happy to work on behalf of the Democratic Party. Once again, if anything, we are understating what a big deal this move on Twitter by Elon Musk is. If free speech is restored to even one big social media platform, it all comes tumbling down. Charles Payne, host of Making Money with Charles Payne on Fox Business, understands this. He's been watching this since the beginning and doing what we cannot do, which is assessing it as a business play, and we're happy to have him join us now. Charles, thanks so much for coming on. What do you make of this?
You know, Tucker, I wish I could go through every one of those things you talked about. For instance, the folks on CNN, I feel like they've never even been to a garage sale. I mean, yeah, he's negotiating Elon Musk for this piece. MSNBC, he's a freeloader. You got to be kidding me. He's got 99,000 employees, and he's bringing factories back to America. So from a business perspective, you've got a guy who sold a business for $176 million. What did he do? He plowed every single nickel into two pipe dreams. One was called Tesla, one was called SpaceX. The very same people that are saying he's unsophisticated today are the same ones who said he couldn't make it then. Well, fast forward to his wealth net worth being $276 billion right now. And, you know, the notion of free speech in America ever becoming controversial in of itself tells you we're in a dangerous place. Someone talked about the quote-unquote orange man. Let me tell you about the orange man. When President Trump was elected, Twitter stock was $16 a share. When President Trump left office, it was $77 a share and promptly went into free fall. This is a company that really has shot themselves in the foot. They are losing big time. They need fresh thinking out there. And Elon Musk is the right medicine. It's the right medicine from a business perspective, and it certainly is the right medicine for the ethos, for the foundation that America was founded on.
Really quick, do you think Musk understands what's about to happen to him? I mean, they're going to try and crush him for real.
He does, because everything he has done, Tucker, they have tried to crush him. They have tried to crush Tesla at every turn. The White House hates Tesla because it's a non-union shop. They have tried to beat him down every single way they can. He knows the challenge. By the way, that's why he made it 54-20. He gave him a shot. He knew they would make fun of it, but that's how Elon Musk operates. He says, come at me, baby. Come at me, because he is a winner. And guess what? They're all they have is opinions.
If this works and Twitter is opened up to free speech and Elon Musk is still standing a year from now, it will be a different country. I think.
Will be a better
Charles
country.
Payne, I appreciate your coming on tonight.
Yep.
I hope so. Thank you. So obviously Twitter doesn't exist so we can share opinions with one another. It exists to silence anyone who challenges the Biden administration and the oligarchs in Silicon Valley who support the Biden administration. And to that end, they've censored the former president, the New York Post, Charlie Kirk, the Babylon Bee, this show. Last night, Twitter suspended a very popular account called Libs of TikTok. Now, Libs of TikTok is essentially an account that finds video of liberals talking about themselves and their own beliefs and posts it. It was, of course, targeted because once you see what these people are saying, they discredit themselves and horrify normal people. Here's some of the footage Libs of TikTok has unearthed. So for the crime of letting liberals talk about themselves and showing people what they actually think, Media Matters did a hit piece on Libs of TikTok, described it as hate, and Twitter dutifully pulled it off the platform. That's exactly how that system works. So the creator of Libs of TikTok remains anonymous. Why? Because we live in a country where you can't even say what you think without threats of violence against you if you're not on the left. But we are happy to talk to that person over the phone, which we are doing now. The creator of Libs of TikTok joins us on the line. Don't know your name. Glad you're on. So you were pulled off Twitter after you were attacked by Media Matters for disseminating hate. Were you surprised by this?
Exactly. No, I was not surprised at all. It definitely felt like a very organized attack that allowed to get me suspended.
So how big, and this is not the first platform from which you've been suspended for holding up liberals in their own voice to the rest of the country. Where else have you been kicked off?
I have been kicked off of TikTok, and I've gotten multiple violations on Instagram.
It's just remarkable to me in a country like ours that you feel the need to remain anonymous. Tell us why you're not giving us your name tonight.
Well, I've gotten a few death threats. I get a ton of hate mail, and the left has been showing recently, how they would treat people who disagreed with them. It's funny because some of the death threats, I've reported it, and the people, they still have their accounts on Twitter. So, you can threaten violence and still keep your account, but you can't play a video of what a leftist is themselves saying.
Right. So your opinions are violence. Their violence are protected speech. You see how that works. Thank you so much for your bravery. And again, I just can't overstate, you're not even giving your opinions necessarily, you're just holding up their opinions for the country to see and for revealing them in their natural habitat. You're on the run. Creator of Libs of TikTok, whatever your name is, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So over the short course of the Biden administration, millions of foreign nationals have streamed into this country illegally. We've criticized the state of Texas repeatedly for not stopping this. Texas Governor Greg Abbott joins us next to explain how he plans to. We'll be right back. So the state of Texas announced today they're going to start busing illegal immigrants, more than 1 million have come through Texas in the last year, to Washington, D.C. And we criticize that. It's a pretty funny idea, but the real question is, how do you keep people who have no right to be here out of the country in the first place? And actually, to be fair, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, may have come up with a plan to do that. So the governor of the Nuevo León province of Mexico has just announced he promises to curb illegal migration north. He's doing this in response to something that Greg Abbott did. Abbott imposed strict safety checks on trucks coming from several provinces in Mexico. So this is a huge economic problem for Mexico. Abbott said he'd lift the new requirements if the Mexican government of these provinces agreed to do something about the migrants. And one province has now agreed. We hope that others soon follow. We wanted to hear more about this from the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, who joins us tonight. Governor, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure, Tucker. So what we have done is we implemented what we call enhanced safety inspections of every commercial vehicle coming across the border, of every border crossing from Mexico into the state of Texas. And it had the predictable result. And that is snarled traffic for miles into Mexico, basically crashing economic conditions in these states as well as in the country of Mexico, and having severe economic consequences for businesses in Mexico. And the predictable result is that these governors of states that are connected to the state of Texas would be knocking on our door begging for relief. And as they beg for relief, we are demanding that they implement security measures that will reduce illegal immigration coming across their border. There are different standards that we will be applying to different states that are connected to the state of Texas. Yesterday, we announced an agreement with the governor of Nuevo Leon. Today, we are hammering out details with 2 more states that are adjacent to Texas, that have border crossings in Texas, that will have some different measures that enhance security, that stops the flow of illegal immigrants from their states to the state of Texas. And then there will be one more state governor that we are dealing with tomorrow to try to hammer out details with them. Altogether, we expect and we demand that on the Mexican side, they finally step up and stop these low water crossings and other actions that are allowing these illegal immigrants to cross the border. If they fail to do that, we are going to continue with our right to inspect every single vehicle coming across that bridge into the state of Texas, regardless of the economic consequences it poses to Mexico.
So, I mean, this suggests that politicians in Mexico have been abetting this mass migration into the United States. It's about to get worse, as you know, next month when the Biden administration lifts any kind of COVID restrictions on immigration. We're expecting a huge wave into your state. Do you think this is enough to stop it?
Listen, this is a meaningful step to reduce it. There are other measures that the state of Texas has taken to make sure that we are addressing this as fully as we can. We are the only state in the history of America to build a border wall. We're laying down miles of razor wire. We're putting boat blockades on the river to prevent people from coming across. We are turning back people who are either trying to cross the border or do cross the border, turning them back. Those who make it through, we are arresting and putting in jail. So we are using multiple strategies to reduce the migration into the state of Texas. Tucker, one consequence of this, you may see heightened migration attempts in other states like New Mexico and California, where they are being less resistant as Texas is. But our job is to make it as difficult as possible for the cartels to get people, to move people across the border in the state of Texas. Our goal is to put the cartels out of business, make them lose money trying to smuggle people into the state of Texas.
Yeah. I mean, Texas is all you can control. You're only the governor of one state, and this seems promising. Governor Greg Abbott, I appreciate your coming on tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Tucker.
So Sandy Cortez's whole shtick is that she's on the side of the working class, the little guy, against the man. Right, Sandy Cortez, daughter of an architect from Westchester. And yet, when it really came down to it, Cortez just abandoned the Amazon labor union right before a historic vote. Oh, maybe she's on the man's side after all. We've got details. And remember Obama phones, where the Obama administration gave phones to welfare recipients? Well, at least they were American citizens. The Biden administration is giving free smartphones to foreign nationals. That's next. Sandy Cortez spends a lot of time telling you that she's on the side of the worker. She's like a modern Wobbly. She's the Walter Reuther of our day. And that's why last year she vowed to stand alongside striking workers at Amazon's Staten Island warehouse. And we're for that because they need the help. But at the last minute, Sandy Cortez bailed on the whole thing. And that infuriated labor organizers who just won a big vote to unionize at the Staten Island facility. Now, Amazon is stepping up its effort to crush the union. Amazon has just banned words like union on its employee chat app. Christian Smalls is a union leader at Amazon, and we're happy to have him join us now. Christian, thanks so much for coming on. So were you surprised that Sandy Cortez, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who has said repeatedly that she's on the side of the worker against the corporation, wasn't standing with you at the barricades.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just her. It was all of them pretty much. It's not
fair.
Yeah. I don't want it to make it just between us and AOC because, a lot of them didn't show up. And, once again, we have no ill will against them. We know that whether they showed up or not, they didn't make or break our election. We just had to continue to organize.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird moment because, I mean, I'm on the right. I've never been particularly pro-union, but it does seem like Amazon needs some counterbalance. Like, it's this huge company. The workers have no power, and maybe we could, I don't know, share a little power with people who work there. So that's my view anyway. So tell us where you are in your organizing efforts.
Well, right now, we're fighting for a contract. Amazon's disputing their election results. So we're in walking and chewing bubble gum at the same time. We're fighting for a contract. We're preparing for another election in 2 weeks on April 25th. We're going to be voting at a second location directly across the building that we just unionized. So we're in the thick of a fight right now, a legal battle. And, we just have to stay grounded and pretty much begin our campaign all over again.
I mean, you'd think that Amazon would be open to a union, wouldn't you? It's a very progressive company. Why do you think they're trying to thwart you from organizing?
Amazon hasn't been unionized in this country since the beginning of its existence, and they're very anti-union. They created a system that hires and fires people. They created a system that they have full control of the working people, and having a union obviously brings representation for the workers that'll benefit the workers at the bottom, like myself, hourly associates, entry-level workers that don't get the right to negotiate. So forming a union gives us the right to collective bargain with the company, form a contract to protect ourselves. So that's exactly what we're trying to do with the Amazon Labor Union. We're hoping that we'll be a catalyst for something that'll take place nationwide.
Well, I certainly am rooting for you. I mean, maybe if they throw some more woke slogans at you, you'll forget you can't feed your family.
Right.
Christian, I appreciate your coming on. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So how would you describe a government that uses its intelligence agencies and its law enforcement capacity to settle scores on behalf of the head politician? Would that be an American system or a third world system? Well, the Biden administration has just been caught spying on journalists in an effort to intimidate them out of reporting on Joe Biden's daughter's diary. That's true. And they've used Apple and Google to do it. Apple and Google have acknowledged for about 3 months, from December of 2020 to March of 2021, the DOJ issued them several subpoenas. The DOJ was seeking sensitive information of journalists employed by Project Veritas, which had dared to report on Ashley Biden's diary. Now, the company noted that the DOJ, quote, compelled Apple and Google not to disclose that they were providing the individual's private data to the government. This seems illegal. It's completely immoral. Talk about an abuse of power. Harmeet Dillon would know. She's this country's premier civil rights attorney and CEO of the Center for American Liberty. She joins us tonight. Harmeet, how can this be allowed to happen?
Well, it shouldn't be, Tucker. Thanks for asking me about this. Not only does it seem illegal, it actually is illegal. And we have learned that not only has the United States Department of Justice illegally been spying on our client, Project Veritas, through the two companies that you mentioned, Apple and Google, but Microsoft itself voluntarily a few weeks ago told us, after threatening to go to court to expose the DOJ doing the same thing to them, the DOJ finally backed down and told us that they sought 7 warrants from different judges in the Southern District of New York to spy on Project Veritas's emails. To date, it looks like Project Veritas has been spied on to the tune of 200,000 emails that the DOJ secretly collected, and by the way, also did not tell a federal judge who is overseeing the seizure of our clients' materials from journalists who worked on that Ashley Biden story, which, by the way, Project Veritas never even ran with it. And so what the DOJ has done is weaponized the DOJ to spy on a journalist, all for the purposes of simply providing some cover for the Biden family and persecuting and intimidating all journalists in the United States against reporting on these issues. And this is protected by the Constitution. And so we filed a motion to get these materials back from the DOJ. So as you mentioned, Tucker, this is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. It's a violation of common law that protects journalists in the United States. It's a violation of the Federal Privacy Protection Act. And it's also a violation of the DOJ's own guidelines, Tucker. So this is shocking, and I hope that the DOJ is called on account for this and that our client gets their property back.
Department of Justice is huge. There are good people who work there, a lot of smart people who work there. You'd think that someone be moved to resign from their jobs in principle when they see DOJ being used to protect the Biden family from embarrassment. Like, that's too much. Has anyone resigned from DOJ over this?
Not only have they not resigned, but we only learned about this over a year and a half after it occurred, Tucker. So several federal magistrate judges were applied to for these different warrants. I believe the DOJ repeatedly lied to these judges. They did not disclose the circumstances that Project Veritas are journalists. They did not disclose the circumstances that there was indeed no threat of Project Veritas destroying evidence. So it is both the subpoenas and the gag orders under 2705B that are outrageous here. And so, by the way, if they're doing this to Project Veritas, you better believe they're probably doing this to other journalists in America who don't know about it because of these gag orders that, frankly, these federal magistrate judges should also have been asking questions before they began blithely rubber stamping all of these requests from the United States Department of Justice, all at the behest of Democrat-connected lawyers for the Biden family.
This is why I include obscenities in every text I send, because I can't wait for the New York Times to have to print them once they're leaked. Not kidding! Army Dillon, great to see you.
Thank you, Tucker.
Thanks so much. So COVID is effectively done. It's no longer the greatest public health crisis in American history, but the state of California is going ahead mandating vaccines for kids, regardless of the dangers and despite the fact they don't need them. One high schooler has been forced out of school, denied his education as a result. Joins us next. Also, we told you we've been working on a documentary on Los Angeles and the crime wave. Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. Elon Musk became famous as a businessman. He makes electric cars and rockets and has become the single richest person on planet Earth by doing that. Elon Musk is not from the United States. He grew up in South Africa, and yet he has a keen and precise understanding of how our system was designed to work. As he put it on Twitter last month, quote, "Free speech is essential to a functioning democracy." And no censorship CEO. Quote, "If this deal doesn't work, given that I have no confidence in management, nor do I believe I can drive the necessary change in the public market, I would need to reconsider my position as a shareholder." That means if Twitter's board rejects Elon Musk's offer, they will need to explain why to their shareholders they turned down a deal that would make the shareholders much richer. So by doing this, Elon Musk is putting everything on the line. He knows how important Twitter is to the people who run our system, who run the global system. For them, censorship and propaganda are not a feature of their rule. Their rule depends on censorship and propaganda. If you are offering policies that really benefit nobody but yourself, you have to lie about them and you must prevent anyone from complaining about it. So censorship and propaganda are at the very heart of neoliberalism. And Elon Musk is challenging all of that directly. He's the richest man in the world. He's not trying to make more money. He's not donating to a foreign charity or creating a tax shelter for himself, at least in this case. He's using his money to allow at least potentially Americans to speak